is no longer safe. Fire breaks out at 6:41 p.m., probably caused by the exploding tear gas canisters.
They burn well over 700 degrees Fahrenheit, and we had to hand throw those into windows to get those chemical agents in, and I think that's what started the fire.
Had they had gas inside the location, as I believe they probably did, that could have caused the fire to start.
But it wasn't an intentional start. Suspects, that didn't happen.
The flames fail to end the standoff. Instead, the SLA continues to fight.
This was unprecedented in law enforcement. One suspect firing against the police, that was pretty commonplace and is today. But 6 people with the intent of dying, basically, I've never heard of that.
Okay, we've been informed by one of the LA police officers here that there is still fire coming from inside the target house, which is across the street, as I said before.
Inside, SLA members are getting desperate.
They kicked the floor furnace out of the floor area where it was mounted and went down underneath the floor of the house.
What they had done was they plugged the drains in the toilet, the sink, and the bathtub. The water was running down over the floor. Their job then was to survive the fire long enough for them to get out.
The SLA, now positioned in the crawl space underneath the house, continues to fire at police, and they fire back.
We put a lot of rounds into the crawl space, and they were putting a lot of rounds out of the crawl space, but we had a better opportunity to be accurate.
Nancy Ling Perry and Camilla Hall, 2 of the SLA soldiers, try for a breakout.
Nancy Ling Perry came out through a crawl hole in the foundation, started toward another house as though she were trying to escape. The official police report says she turned at that point and fired at the police, and they killed her. Seconds later, Camilla Hall came crawling out of a crawl space. She was firing as she came out and was killed instantly.
Police are now saying, hold your fire to each other. They're holding their fire. They've declared a ceasefire. I don't see how anybody could be returning fire from that building. It is burning like a son of a gun.
When the house was fully involved with flames, that's when it became sporadic pop, 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 popping of exploding ammunition rounds, which were still dangerous. But that's when we got the sense that the actual shootout itself was over.
When the fire is out, the gruesome task of evidence collection begins. 6 bodies are found as the post-incident investigation is conducted in minute detail.
They all died in those crawl spaces. Some died of gunfire, and 2 died of smoke inhalation, is my recollection of what the coroner found.
The words of Donald DeFreeze, recorded 3 months earlier, are hauntingly prophetic.
And if, as you and others so naively believe, that we will lose, let it be known that even in death we will win. For the very ashes of this fascist will mark our very graves.
Our count, and it was a laborious one, the police department fired in excess of 5,000 rounds, and the SLA fired almost 4,000 rounds.
The urban gunfight sets a precedent for its level of violence. 6 SLA members are killed, but none of the SLA's 4,000 bullets a target.
Miraculously, no one in the neighborhood was shot or hit by any of the bullets.
And none of my police officers were hit. And we were lucky.
But the fate of Patty Hearst is still unknown.
Anyone who was watching this on television had to be thinking that it was possible that Patty Hearst was in that SLA. Went in to do the examination. It was determined first and foremost that Patty Hearst was not among the victims.
Great sigh of relief at the Los Angeles Police Department. The death of Patty Hearst in an action like that would have been an earthquake.
I died in that fire on 54th Street, but out of the ashes I was reborn. I know what I have to do. Our comrades didn't die in vain. Life is very precious to me, but I have no delusions that going to prison will keep me alive.
It is her last taped message as Tanya. Patty Hearst will be captured 16 months later. She is convicted of bank robbery and use of a dangerous weapon and imprisoned for 2 years before President Carter commutes her sentence. Years later, President Clinton pardons her.
I don't know if the country forgave, but they forgot and are more accepting. We're not accepting, for example, when you see an American taken prisoner, a statement. In the old days, not too long ago, when that soldier would have come back, or that person would have come back, they would have been scorned. Now they're treated, you understand it. So times change.
Bill and Emily Harris are captured and serve 8 years in prison for kidnapping Hearst. In 2002, they plead guilty to a 1975 bank robbery and murder, for which they are sentenced to another 7 and 8 years, respectively. Los Angeles recedes into history. But at the time, it set a new benchmark for politically motivated extremist violence.
Like all zealots, they really felt they were going to change the world. And until you can convince people there's a right way and a wrong way to change the world, there's just no stopping the course of history.